Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the Euro Roundup where you pick our winners and losers from the game week just past. Joining me as per usual is Patrick van Straten in this lovely cream number.
Thanks.
Lovely texture, ribbed for her pleasure. Anyway, our first team feels like very familiar territory. It comes from BVB Nation, a little indication as to who it is there.
Yes, it's Borussia Dortmund who came through a tough test against Fortuna Düsseldorf to win 3-2 and take the Bundesliga title race to the last day of the season. Now, Bayern Munich drew with RB Leipzig, which means that the Borussen go into next week's round of fixtures knowing that if they beat Mönchengladbach and Eintracht Frankfurt cause an upset at the Allianz, then they can still win the title.
It's back on, baby. It's back on.
Maybe. To be honest, this was a tough game for them. We've really given them credit this season for their flowing attacking football, but this required some grit. They were 2-1 down at one stage, and then Dusseldorf's Dodi Lukebakio missed a penalty, having sent Burki the wrong way, which would have been his 15th goal of the season in all competitions, and pretty much consigned Dortmund to defeat. Lukebakio is 21, and he's been unbelievable this season on loan from Watford. Goal involvement every 146 minutes, has played across the front line, but simple attacking skill will win out a lot of the time. That's pretty much what Dortmund have banked on all season, right? The fact that they've just got quality in all their forward positions, and in the end, they ran out 3-2 winners with 61% of the possession and 15 shots to 8. So overall, perhaps deserved even with that little stroke of good fortune.
Riddle me this, Van Straten. Is there a team more satisfying to say in world football than Dusseldorf?
Sassuolo.
Oh, a good answer. Let us know yours in the comments below. Exactly the sort of content that people tune in for. Back to Dortmund anyway with Christian Pulisic, who is coming into form before he leaves. Scored his second goal in 2 games after having scored once since September prior to that. Now, the American also completed 7 dribbles, not completely out his wheelhouse. We've always known he's a pretty adept dribbler. That was more than anyone else on the pitch. Predictably, he had 81 touches, more than any other attacker, and he completed 2 key passes, sustaining a pass accuracy of around 90%. They will be promising numbers. That will be music to Sarri's ears. But man of the match had to be deep-lying midfielder Delaney, who's had a great season, hasn't he? This 90, he got a goal and an assist from CDM, had 3 shots and dominated that midfield with 81 touches. Come on, leaps and bounds in that team. Props have to go to Goetze as well, who put the game beyond doubt in stoppage time. It was his 3rd goal in 4 games and his 10th goal involvement in 14 Bully appearances. Led the press really well on the day as well. His defensive numbers read like this: 3 tackles and interceptions, which was the joint most in the BVB side. And whatever happens next week, I think Dortmund fans and Lucien Favre can see this season as one of noteworthy progress, because when Peter Bosch left, they were down and out. Stöger came in, not the most inspirational coach, just sustained them, kept them ticking over, and now they're back with a bit of flair, a bit of panache, aren't they? Lucien Favre has, fallen in line with the Dortmund philosophy, traditionally being quite a defence-minded coach and one that just springs, really kind of useful counter-attacks, let's say. There's an element of that in this side, but they've dominated games as well, haven't they? They've actually scored the most goals and accumulated the most points for a Dortmund side since 2015-16. So kind of back on their pomp. Thomas Tuchel numbers, let's say. Back in their pomp as well, not on their pomp. But is there any possibility, do you hold out any hope for this Dortmund side clinching the league title on the last day? Of course, Bayern could have done it against Leipzig, drew 0-0. And now Eintracht Frankfurt on the last day, whose form...
That is rough. But on the other hand, Dortmund have got Gladbach, who we'll come on to in a bit. I mean, I don't really want to root for either of them, because I feel like both of them have not really deserved to win the title.
Yeah, they've kind of done enough to have both thrown it away.
Yeah.
Let's give it to RB Leipzig and move on.
Both bottlers. Juventus are our first losers of the week, and this comes from @Daryl Saliba. They are trash at the moment. Juventus are rubbish, mate. They shouldn't have won the title. They should send them back to Serie B.
Your disdain for Juventus at this point, not even trying to hide it, are you?
Rubbish.
I mean, the old lady has turned into dust.
Wow.
Decrepit, hunchback, can't get across the street with a shopping, Patrick. And like you said, what a rubbish way to end the season. Been fairly poor in the final third, haven't they? They've now lost 3 games in Serie A, having been beaten by Roma 2-0. But the Giallorossi do seem to be Juve's bogey team. They've now lost 3 games against Roma since 2015-16, more than any other side in this period. Now, the stats in this game pretty mixed. So Allegri's men had 63% possession, but Roma edged them on shots with 13-7. However, Juve did have more on target. So fairly attritional, kind of could have gone either way, and the XG does suggest that, does paint that picture. Although it was in Roma's favour, 1.2 to Juventus' 0.9. And despite having already won the league, Allegri not really rotating his talent. You know, we like this point of the season because there's experimental lineups, isn't there?
Yeah.
But Allegri using 8 of the 14 players he used in his squad were actually over the age of 28 in this game. So maybe more to be done at Juve in the summer than their 8 league titles in a row would suggest. However, all the teams below them doing their best as well, not to mount a serious title challenge, aren't they? Dybala missed several big chances in this game for the Turin side, and if he continues at this rate, it'll be the first time since 2013 that the Argentine has failed to contribute to over 10 goals in the league, which is unthinkable given what he put up last season. So he's currently on 5 goals and 4 assists. Mandzukic is currently their second highest goal scorer on 8. They've kind of ground out a lot of wins this campaign, haven't they, in quite boring fashion, with Ronaldo sort of getting 1 or 2 in 1-0 and 2-1 victories.
Yeah, and I don't know, we've seen some unrest recently around Allegri being there, which is kind of the first time that's happened since he took over at Juve. Right at the beginning, obviously fans weren't really happy because of his manner of leaving Milan. But obviously unbroken success since then has really steadied the ship. Now we're starting to see disappointment from fans, and like you said, Allegri talking about leaving. There have been rumours, they were put to him in a press conference and he refused to reassure fans, saying, I have another year left on my contract, but it's important to analyse this season and the next season. And Pavel Nedved, who's now Juve's vice president, said, we'll see, when they asked him whether Allegri was going to say.
I like that.
Yeah, and like you said, last 7 games in all competitions, drawn 3, lost 3, won just once. That's the first time that they've had such a bad run since 2010. And admittedly, you know, you shouldn't judge him on an away trip to the Olimpico. Since he arrived at Juventus, he's got 2 draws, 3 defeats there, scored 3, conceded 8. But I don't know. I mean, after 11 trophies in 5 years and a 72% win rate, you think he'd be kind of stable at the club. But Juve just want to win the Champions League. And his win rate in the Champions League drops from 72% to 53%. And don't get me wrong, everyone's win rate goes down in the Champions League. It's a tougher competition. But it feels like if he can't deliver that trophy, he might just be bored of trying. And I don't know, I mean, would they be better off getting in somebody else?
I mean,
Pochettino link?
It's probably worse for him having almost tasted success on 2 occasions.
Yeah.
Having got so far, there's probably a feeling of how much further can I take this side rather than, okay, it's obvious where we need to kind of progress or improve on the European front. And there's generational talent, isn't there? Especially along that back line. That's going to need a lot of work to stay, at the same level over the next 2 or 3 years. So it is starting to build up. Momentum is kind of starting to build in terms of a big transition happening, is my take on things at current. But Juventus fans, you know much more than us. Why don't you let us know your expert opinion in the comments below. Our final winners are Ajax. After a tumultuous week, R-_10 has put them in our winners, maybe out of sympathy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like the Champions League semi-final, yes, disappointing, but acquitted themselves well and put the disappointment behind them with a 4-1 battering of FC Utrecht at the Johan Cruyff Arena this weekend, which pretty much secures the title, I think. Now, they went behind after 36 seconds, thanks to a goal from Boussaïd, but it kind of just made them angry. And Huntelaar and Van der Beek gave them the lead going into the break. Tadic scored twice late on. He also got an assist in this game, so I think he's now at 26 goals, 13 assists for the season in 33 starts. That seems
good.
Normal in the league. And Ziyech also got an assist. It means they now have 2 players with 10 goals and 10 assists. The only side in Europe's top 5 leagues to match that is Man City, who have Sané and Sterling both in double figures. a typically dominant performance, really.
Yeah.
65% possession, 87% pass accuracy, team-wide. 25 shots, 12 on target to Utrecht's 11 and 4 on target. And Tadic, just in scintillating form. 5 shots, 3 on target, 2 goals, 4 key passes, 1 assist, 2 dribbles, 2 tackles. That is an all-action performance from a guy closing in on 30. Frenkie de Jong, meanwhile, completed 103 of his 110 passes, both the highest on the pitch. I think it's just sad that this summer, this generation of Ajax talent is going to start to break apart, because it's been a joy to witness.
It has. And I sort of, I watched a Frenkie de Jong compilation video, and there was really emotive music in the background. And I actually got quite upset at the prospect of not watching these youngsters play together again, because the legacy is going to be much more than just, securing X, Y, and Z moves to Barcelona and to Bayern Munich, or so on and so forth. They've actually shown that with a clear plan, everyone coming together, what is a medium-sized club now with a world-class reputation, you can still be competitive if you put an emphasis on youth and give them the right sort of education. So they've been one of the real kind of great underdog stories in modern Champions League history, haven't they? But enough of that. You'll hear me waxing lyrical about them on a podcast or a Sunday Vibe someday soon. That is for sure. Back to the complexion of the Eredivisie, because PSV lost, and like Pato said, that all but clinches the title for Ajax. So PSV defeated 1-0 by AZ Alkmaar away from home. Alkmaar having a very promising season, finishing in 4th place themselves. 21-year-old captain Gustil scoring his 12th of the season there as they clinched European football, cemented European football for next season. That was quite an even game too. Could have gone either way, 50% possession for each side. PSV had 15 shots, 5 on target, compared to Alkmaar's 13 and 2. 34-year-old Ron Vlaar still playing in the Eredivisie. Concrete was the home side star performer. 100% tackle success rate, 6 clearances, 2 aerial duels, and an 86% pass accuracy. So another old dog finding a new lease of life out in the Dutch league. Ultimately, this leaves PSV 3 points and 14 goals worse off than the leaders with 1 game left. So that would require quite the bloody swing, wouldn't it? And with Ajax going away to the Graafschap, the side that Daley Blind scored a hat-trick against when they demolished them 8-0.
Yeah.
8-0. It's just going to be an even bigger margin, isn't it? It's going to be 3 points and plus 31 goal difference. Guys, Dutch football fans, have you enjoyed this season? Who do you think is going to leave this Ajax side? Will they get picked apart like all the mainstream media outlets are reporting? Of course, De Jong has gone. De Ligt has said it's definitely going to be his last season. Pat, just before we go, who do you think you're going to keep hold of, and who else is going to be plucked from that talented side?
I think they'll keep Van der Beek. I think Neres might go. But I think they'll, and it looks like Tagliafico might go as well, but I think they'll keep Onana, and they'll just bring through another generation of young talent like they always do.
Yeah, and the machine goes rolling on.
Our second and final losers are Eintracht Frankfurt, and this comes from @DasClown99. What is going on with Frankfurt?
Das Clown, that's flipping great. Yeah, despite being 4th after game week 31, they were 3 points ahead of their nearest rivals in the competition at that point. Frankfurt's subsequent 4-game winless run has dragged them all the way down to 6th. And in fact, Hoffenheim can still leapfrog them from 8th on the final day of the season, should results still not go their way. So Adi Hütter's side were defeated in this game 2-0 by Mainz, with Anthony Uja grabbing 2 goals in 5 minutes, inflicting the home side's 3rd loss in their last 5 Bundesliga games. So the wheels coming off at the end of the campaign. They've only lost 9 all season, so 1/3 of their losses coming in the final 5 games, or the last 5 games even. Both sides registered the same amount of shots in this game, a paltry 4, but Rebic, Danny Da Costa and Jovic all failed to convert big chances. The trio actually missed chances with a combined XG of 1.28, which is pretty substantial given they lost 2-0. All came within the first 20 minutes as well. So a positive start, but maybe a missed opportunity owing to that lack of decisiveness. In fact, those chances they created in the first 20 minutes actually amounted to more XG than Mainz produced over the course of the 90, which was 1.25. So this was probably a little bit unfortunate. Adi Hütter, probably what's German for for after this game. But, you know, Mainz were industrious, they were compact, managed to secure the 3 points, and there was a couple of standout performers in this game, right, for them?
Yeah, Jean-Philippe Bermin, who's been linked to Arsenal in the past. He's kind of a defensive midfielder, but he's actually also deputised at centre-back as well. He played in midfield in this game, and he was fantastic. 2 key passes, 1 assist, 6 tackles, and an interception. I think he's 23 now, might be 24. 21-year-old Jean-Philippe Mateta, same first name, is also having a very, very good season. 15 goals and assists so far in his debut campaign. I think they got him off Lyon's B team. I think he played in Ligue 2 last season for Le Havre and got like 17 goals in the league for them. Helped them reach the playoffs, got a couple of goals in the playoffs as well. And he's actually their record signing. I think the fee could rise to 10 million euros. Ooh. Anyway,
that's around our record signing, don't you know?
Yeah.
Not all as, you know, fiscally. Chub.
Anyway, Mateta's got 6 goals and an assist in his last 7, and going into the last day of the Bundesliga season, it looks very tasty, as Hamel said. We've got Bayern Munich versus Eintracht Frankfurt, Gladbach versus Dortmund, Leverkusen go away to Berlin, Bremen versus Leipzig, Mainz versus Hoffenheim, and Wolfsburg versus Augsburg. And pretty much, I think it's 4 clubs have a shot at getting that 4th spot in the league. So I'm not really sure how it's going to go. But I hope that Frankfurt get it.
Ooh.
Who do you want?
I'm not sure who's in the Pokal final. Champions League football.
Gladbach, Leverkusen, Frankfurt.
Leverkusen have just signed Demirbay, haven't they? I really like that Leverkusen. I mean, Peter Bosch is in charge, isn't he? They do play a fun brand of football. Got a talented squad. Yeah, why?
Not relevant.
I mean, not very well liked though, are they? I wish Hoffenheim could qualify. That's what I'm going to say.
Should we poll it?
Yeah.
Let us know who's going to make the top 4 in the poll.
Star of the week then to round things off comes from Eden for King 60, and it's Torgan Hazard. He's nominated his brother. Hardly fair.
Yeah, and this is, of course, going into that final game of the season, Gladbach versus Dortmund. And though all the focus may be on Eden's potential move to Real Madrid, Torgan Hazard grabbed a goal and assist against Nuremberg this week to move on to 10 goals and 10 assists in the Bundesliga. Nice. That makes him the 10th player to reach double figures in both goals and assists across Europe's top 5 leagues this season, and his brother is in that club as well. So well done to their parents.
Yeah, super sperm.
Amazing. Anyway, Torgan is an all-round threat, ranked 2nd in the Gladbach squad for shots per game with 2.4 behind Alassane Plea, 1st for key passes with 2.3 and 1st for dribbles with 2.2. And though Plea is top scorer with 12, Hazard is the key. He's made or scored 36% of his club's league goals. And he's gone to 20 goal involvements this season, up from 15 last season. So next year, 25. Everyone knows that's how it works.
At Dortmund. So there's no one in that Gladbach side. They've almost qualified for Champions League football, kind of without a prolific shooter per 90, let's say. Their shot location must be really good.
Player gets about 3 shots a game, but also I think they've just finished well this season. I think that Hazard and Player are both pretty hot right now.
Yeah, running hot. Anyway, back to the Belgian, because talking of running, it looks like he's going to run all the way to Borussia Dortmund, doesn't it? Recently admitted that he's agreed personal terms with BVB. Now his contribution saw Dave Vollen win 4-0 on Saturday, moving up to 4th place on goal difference with 1 game to go after Leverkusen's 1-1 draw with Schalke and Frankfurt's loss to Mainz. And as we mentioned earlier, Gladbach faced Dortmund on the last day of the season, and Hazard might need to end his future club's title or hopes in order to get his current club in the Champions League. What a narrative. Football just writes itself, doesn't it? Inject it clean into my veins. That is the last team or the last subject we are covering, Patrick. What else should people watch if they're still listening to us ramble about Torgan Hazard?
Stay right here on Euro Football Daily. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Check out Scout Report. Obviously, check out all our Stat Wars episodes, which are on flames right now. And our 10s have been good recently as well. We've got a lot of end of seasons 10s and 11s coming out across both channels, so make sure that you check those out.
Bye.
Bye.